Okay, the next question is, tell me about a time when you had to prioritize multiple tasks with competing deadlines. How did you manage your time and ensure everything was completed? Here's a good answer. In my previous role, I was working on a project to develop a new feature while also maintaining support for a legacy system. Both tasks had critical deadlines. The new feature had to be ready for a product demo in 2 weeks, and a bug fix for the legacy system was due the following week because it was causing issues for our customers. As the lead engineer on the feature development, I was responsible for delivering the new feature on time. Additionally, I had to ensure that the legacy system bug fix was properly implemented and tested without delaying the feature release. To manage both tasks effectively, I started by breaking them down into smaller, actionable items and assessing the time each would take. I prioritized the tasks by urgency and impact, deciding that the bug fix for the legacy system was a higher priority since it was affecting customers. I communicated with the product manager to make sure the feature demo timeline was realistic and adjusted the scope of the feature slightly to ensure it could still be delivered on time. I used time blocking in my calendar to allocate specific hours of the day for each task and focused on completing the most urgent ones first. As a result, I was able to deliver the bug fix for the legacy system on time, which helped prevent customer disruptions. I also managed to finalize the feature with the adjusted scope, and it was successfully demoed in the product presentation. While the feature wasn't as large as originally planned, it still met the core requirements, and the feedback was positive. This experience helped me improve my time management and prioritization skills, and I received positive feedback from my manager for my handling of the competing deadlines.
Why this works? It should work well because 1. Realistic and thoughtful approach. Your answer avoids extremes like overworking or unrealistic perfectionism, instead showcasing a balanced, strategic approach to managing multiple tasks. 2. Clear communication. You've demonstrated how you effectively communicated with stakeholders and collaborated with your team. 3. Growth mindset. By reflecting on what you learned and how you've improved, you show that you can grow from challenges and continuously improve your skills. 4. Results-oriented. You focus on the outcomes, demonstrating that your time management and decision-making have a direct impact on success. What you should avoid saying. 1. Lack of prioritization or planning. Don't claim that you simply worked harder or did everything at once without explaining how you prioritized your tasks. A response like, I just worked 14-hour days and did everything at the last minute is not a strategic or sustainable approach to managing competing priorities. 2. Overpromising. Avoid saying that you tried to do everything perfectly and didn't adjust your approach. For instance, saying, I didn't change any deadlines and managed to deliver everything perfectly might suggest that you weren't flexible or realistic about the constraints of your tasks. 3. Ignoring team collaboration. Don't suggest that you did everything yourself without involving your team or communicating with others. For example, saying, I handled it alone without needing anyone's help makes it sound like you didn't collaborate or rely on others, which is unlikely to be the reality in a team environment. 4. Not explaining the results. Don't just talk about the effort without addressing the outcomes. Saying something like, I was really stressed but managed to work through everything is less impactful than explaining how your prioritization led to positive results. Focus on the effectiveness of your decisions. 5. Blaming external factors. Avoid blaming external factors or circumstances without showing how you took ownership of the situation. For example, the deadlines were unrealistic, but I had to just push through, doesn't demonstrate your problem-solving skills or your ability to manage challenges proactively. 6. Focusing only on time management tools. Don't just talk about the tools you used, e.g., time blocking, task lists, without explaining how you actually applied them. A response like, I just used a task manager and hoped everything worked out, doesn't provide enough insight into how you assessed and managed your workload. Thanks for watching. For more tech interview questions, please go to bowsiate.com.
Okay, the next question is, tell me about a time when you had to make a difficult decision under pressure. How did you approach it and what was the outcome? Here's a good answer. In a previous role, I was part of a team working on a major product release. a critical bug surfaced right before the launch, which could have affected user experience. I had to decide whether to delay the release to fix it or move forward and address it in the next update. Both options had implications for user trust and the team's work. As one of the lead engineers on the project, I was responsible for evaluating the bug's potential impact and recommending the best course of action to my manager and team. I began by conducting a risk analysis to understand the bug's scope and potential consequences. I consulted with team members to get their input on the severity and possible fixes, and I spoke with the product manager to understand the business implications of delaying the launch. We assessed that the bug was a non-blocking issue but could affect some users. After weighing the options, I proposed launching on time with a commitment to release a hotfix within 24 hours to address the issue. We proceeded with the release as scheduled, and I prepared the hotfix, which was deployed within 24 hours. While a small number of users were impacted, we communicated transparently, and the quick fix helped us retain user trust. This experience taught me how to make informed, balanced decisions under pressure and reinforced the importance of considering both technical and business perspectives.
Why this works? It should work well because 1. Shows analytical and decision-making skills. This answer highlights your ability to assess risks, consider trade-offs, and make a well-informed decision even under time constraints. You demonstrate a thoughtful, analytical approach that considers both technical and non-technical factors. 2. Collaborative and consultative approach. The response shows that you didn't make the decision in isolation. You consulted with team members and sought input from other stakeholders to get a well-rounded perspective. 3. Focus on user-centric decisions. By considering the potential impact on user experience, you show that you prioritize user satisfaction and are willing to take immediate steps to address issues. 4. Learning and continuous improvement. The answer ends with a reflection on what you learned, showing your commitment to growth and improvement. What you should avoid saying. 1. Focusing only on the technical aspect. Don't focus solely on the technical implications without mentioning the user and business perspective. For example, saying, "I decided to fix the bug and delay the launch without consulting anyone" could make it seem like you weren't considering other important factors. 2. Ignoring stakeholder input. Avoid making it sound like you made the decision entirely on your own without input. Saying, "I just went with my gut and launched it" suggests a lack of collaboration and might imply that you didn't consider other options or team input. 3. Indecisiveness. Avoid answers that make you sound indecisive or unclear about your decision-making process. For instance, "I wasn't sure what to do, so I waited until the last minute" may show that you struggle with making timely decisions under pressure, which isn't ideal for high-stakes roles. 4. Downplaying the challenge or skipping the outcome. Don't make it seem like the decision wasn't impactful or skip explaining the outcome. For example, "It wasn't a big deal in the end," or "I made the choice and moved on," misses the opportunity to demonstrate your skills in handling pressure and making impactful decisions. Thanks for watching. For more tech interview questions, please go to bowsiate.com. Okay, the next question is, describe a time when you had to work with limited resources or a tight timeline. How did you handle it and what was the outcome? Here's a good answer. In a previous role, I was tasked with developing a prototype for a new feature within a very short time frame of 2 weeks. We also had limited resources, as only a couple of engineers were available to work on it, and the client needed a working demo quickly. As the lead engineer on the prototype, it was my responsibility to manage the project timeline and make sure we delivered a functional version of the feature that could showcase its value to the client, despite our limitations. First, I prioritized the most critical aspects of the feature that we could implement within the timeline and would still provide value to the client. I worked with my team to identify which elements we could simplify or skip for the prototype while still meeting our core objectives. We also leveraged existing libraries and frameworks to speed up development, and I organized daily stand-ups to quickly address any blockers and ensure we stayed on track. Additionally, I communicated regularly with stakeholders to keep them updated and manage expectations. Despite the time and resource constraints, we successfully delivered a prototype that met the client's core requirements. The client was impressed and approved further development based on the demo. This experience taught me the importance of prioritization and creative problem-solving under tight constraints. I also learned how effective communication can help manage expectations and build trust, even when resources are limited. Why this works? It should work well because 1. Shows prioritization and focus on core needs. By describing how you prioritized essential features and trimmed non-critical elements, you demonstrate your ability to make strategic decisions under constraints. 2. Emphasizes efficient use of resources. You mention how you leveraged existing tools and frameworks to save time, showing that you can work efficiently with what's available. Why it works. Meta appreciates engineers who are resourceful and can optimize available tools. This answer shows that you're practical, adaptable, and capable of finding creative solutions when resources are scarce. 3. Highlights strong communication skills. You explain how you kept stakeholders updated and managed expectations, which shows that you value transparency and proactive communication. Why it works. Meta places high importance on teamwork and communication. This answer shows that you can handle constraints in a way that maintains team cohesion and stakeholder trust, a vital quality for collaborative problem solving. 4. Focuses on positive outcome and lessons learned. By showing a successful outcome and reflecting on the lessons, you highlight your ability to learn from challenges and improve your approach. What you should avoid saying. 1. Focusing only on the constraints. Avoid talking excessively about the challenges without discussing your solution. For example, the timeline was too short and we didn't have enough people to do a thorough job can make it seem like you struggled to cope with the constraints without a plan. 2. Blaming others or complaining. Avoid blaming others or expressing frustration with the lack of resources. Statements like, "It would have been better if we had more engineers," or "the timeline was unrealistic," can come across as negative and suggest a lack of adaptability. 3. Ignoring the outcome. Don't forget to share the outcome. Saying something like, "I did my best given the circumstances," without describing the end result can make it seem like the effort was unfinished or unsuccessful. 4. Not reflecting on the learning experience. Avoid omitting any lessons learned. A response that simply ends with the result, like, "We delivered the prototype, and that was it," misses the opportunity to show growth and insight. Thanks for watching. For more tech interview questions, please go to bowsiate.com. Okay, the next question is, tell me about a time when you set an ambitious goal. How did you work towards it, and what was the outcome? Here's a good answer. In a previous role, I set a goal to reduce the load time of a high-traffic web application by 50% within 3 months. The app's performance was crucial for user retention, but existing load times were causing drop-offs, especially on mobile. This goal was challenging because it required extensive optimization and careful planning to avoid introducing new bugs. As the TL on this project, it was my responsibility to identify performance bottlenecks, prioritize optimizations, and implement changes that would create a noticeable improvement in speed and user experience. I started by analyzing our existing code and using profiling tools to identify slow components and inefficient queries. I broke down the optimization work into smaller milestones, focusing first on the largest areas of improvement. I also consulted with the front-end and back-end teams to ensure our changes were aligned and wouldn't affect other functionalities. We implemented lazy loading, optimized asset delivery, and reduced JavaScript dependencies, among other changes. To track progress, I monitored metrics daily to measure improvements and adjust as needed. In the end, we exceeded the goal by achieving a 60% reduction in load time. User engagement improved significantly, and mobile users had a much smoother experience. This project taught me the value of setting clear, measurable goals and using data to guide each step of the process. I now make it a habit to set ambitious goals and break them down into achievable milestones to track progress efficiently. Why this works? It should work well because 1. Demonstrates goal setting and ambition. This response clearly shows that you're proactive in setting ambitious goals and are motivated to create impactful improvements. It reflects a drive for continuous improvement, a quality we highly value. 2. Shows strategic planning and organization. You outline a clear, structured approach to achieving the goal by breaking it into smaller milestones, collaborating with cross-functional teams, and using specific techniques to improve performance. 3. Data-driven and result-oriented. The answer emphasizes the use of profiling tools and metrics to monitor progress and measure the results, which shows that you are analytical and result-driven. 4. Commitment to learning and improvement. You conclude by highlighting what you learned from the experience and how it influenced your approach to future projects. This shows a growth mindset and adaptability. What you should avoid saying. 1. Setting a vague or unmeasurable goal. Avoid mentioning goals that aren't specific or quantifiable, like, I wanted to make the app faster. Without a clear metric, it's hard to demonstrate the impact, making your answer less compelling. 2. Skipping the process. Avoid jumping straight to the outcome without detailing the steps you took. For example, saying, I reduced load time significantly without explaining the approach can make it seem like you don't plan strategically or track progress. 3. Undermining the challenge. Avoid downplaying the difficulty of the goal by saying something like, it wasn't that hard, I just did it. This might suggest that you lack ambition or fail to recognize the importance of thoughtful planning and problem solving. 4. Focusing only on personal gains. Avoid framing the goal solely in terms of personal achievement, like, I wanted to show I could do something ambitious. Instead, focus on the impact your work had on the team or product, as this shows you're oriented toward broader success rather than just personal accolades. Thanks for watching. For more tech interview questions, please go to bowsy8.com.